Yeah, you gotta say yes to it.
Blessing.
Yeah, you have to say yes to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a nephew who's in AA and NA, and I watched that boy struggle.
Mhm.
I watched that boy fall off the horse. I watched that boy get back up on the horse. And he's 55, and he's been sober for like, I don't know, 20 years, maybe longer.
Mhm.
And yet, his life revolves around being at his meetings and sponsoring other people. And his,
Mhm.
I guess I'd call it, his faith is very, very strong, but he has some difficult times.
Sure.
You know, to me, that's a real example of walking the faith life, you know?
Faith in a real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I told you I was in this group with all convicted murderers, about 30 of them. They're all in a room about the size of the social room. And they were talking one day. I mean, some of the conversations, you just shake your head. They were talking, walk into the room, sit down, and they're already talking about how fortunate they are to be there. And all the horrendous events and the suffering they have put on other people somehow has turned into kind of this gracious, unmerited love, right? This gracious place in their lives. And they were talking about their families that were outside and how sorry they felt for them. It was just an absurd conversation, and they were absolutely, They weren't kidding around, they were just genuine. And that's, they found themselves in grace with all this crap in their lives. And they were going to be there for a long, long time, and if not forever, some of them, but or to the end of their lives, and it had that biblical feel to it, like this is crazy, impossible. People don't go there. You can find out a lot when you find yourself on the extremes. So, and I've had a lot of those experiences over the years. That and a psych hospital, there are things that you could see in a psych hospital that just you'll never forget. And it's edgy, you're right on the edge. So. We done for now? So laughter is born. We can do a little bit more. It's 10:02. I know what to do here.
No, yeah.
Is that enough?
Last week when we stopped, you said think about what you wanted to ask about, and I was asking about slavery in the Bible, and
Oh, you want to talk about that?
yeah, for a minute, if
Sure.
you don't mind.
No, I don't
I just wondered what you.
Well, there are a number of different kinds of slavery. Servitude, let's call it that. It was very, on the one hand over here, we've got over here being a servant, like you okay, Alice? Okay. It's like a sliding scale. Over here, you've got people that are going to be indentured servants for a time. They're like college students, who are gonna make a little money, be under the house. I mean, we've got people in Millbrook like this, right? They serve wealthy families, and they're gonna cook and clean or whatever they gotta do, and they're not gonna stay there, but they're gonna move on from there. That is also in the Bible. Stewards, indentured servants, they have to pay off something. They can't live in their own house, so they're gonna pay something off over time. That's over here. Sliding scale way over here is Egypt, which is absolute chattel slavery over here. Over in this over on this side, totally permitted and even encouraged. If you're having a hard time financially, go hook yourself up with a wealthy family and get out of hock or whatever you gotta do. It's a good idea. Over here, in Egypt, we've got a situation where we're gonna get you out of there. Because it's horrendous, it's sinful, it's completely against God's understanding of what a human being is, or consideration of what a human being is, and it will not do. You can go to the Babylonian captivity, it's a little softer. It's about 600 years before Jesus, 700, 600. And they have been taken out of, the Jewish people have been taken out of, because of the war. They've been stripped out of Israel, and they will then be employed as whatever they were doing. So if you're an accountant, if you work for the government, blah, 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 you will then do the same kind of work there. But it's not slavery like, we're going to work you to death. It was not that. So that's kind of those are three good examples, I think, of what could be seen as slavery. You want to respond to that?
No, well, I mean, I sort of understand what you're talking about with the types of slavery, but I don't know, my question has always been, why haven't we been able to really shed ourselves of that worst form of slavery?
Well, we love money is the reason.
And
Yeah, it was the economic engine of the United States for 250 years.
and hopefully God will put this in a plan to help us do that.
Well,
You know.
all right, so here in the States, it was an economic issue, and then in order to do that, you have to demean your slaves, that slave population, so you have 2/3 of a person or whatever. You have absolute power over their lives and their deaths.
Mhm.
And so you have to diminish their humanity, which every culture has done, right? I mean, the Nazis did it with the Jewish people, right? You have to make them subhuman in order to justify what you're about to do to them. Biblically, which is kind of interesting, is that where you're
That's
leaning?
what I was,
Okay.
that was,
Well, the justification theologically, one of them, has to do with the person of Ham. Do you know that?
Noah's son?
It was one of Noah's sons. So here's the story. So Noah and his sons, they bring the animals into the ark. They save the world from ultimate utter destruction. They land on Mount whatever. Is it Ararat? I was going to say Nebo, but it's Ararat, yeah. Anyway, they get out. Noah's got a little drinking problem. So they open up the doors. He goes out, gets plastered. And don't you love the Bible? I mean, you can picture it, right? Like, so he's in his tent. He's buck naked and drunk. Do you know this story? This is in the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, they cover him up. The sons cover him up. This is shameful. Let's cover him up. Well, one of them that sees Noah's junk, so to speak. How would a Christian say that?
It's
Yeah, is Ham. And Noah wakes up and sees Ham looking at him, and Noah puts a curse on Ham and his progeny. Right? Now I've got a little basic question, and that is, who cares what Noah does? If God put a curse on Ham, now we're talking. Noah puts the curse on Ham. And who does he think he is to do that? So that whole argument, in my mind, just evaporates. I mean, I put a fair amount of curses on people, and none of them work. Nobody here in the room.
Was that-
Some of you watching from home, maybe.
Was that the curse of slavery that he
Yes.
put on him?
Yes.
I guess I don't know
Yeah.
the rest of the story.
Yeah, well, the people, the family of Ham, the tribe of Ham, have been seen by those that are devotees of American-style slavery. They would say that the Africans that were brought over here to become slaves are the family of Ham, the tribe of Ham. So we are absolutely justified, since they've already been cursed, we'd like to enact the curse in our own special way. That's how it works. And nobody's ever said, well, who cares about Noah? Since when does he have the power to curse an entire, tribe? But when you're enslaving people and making money hand over fist, you don't worry about these little details. You're too busy making money.
Well, thank you. That was interesting
There
and
you go.
very enlightening.
Okay. Anybody heard that before? That little argument?
No, I never. I still don't understand really how Ham had to do with the kind of slavery. I mean, the curse, yes, but why did we pick those people? Were they descendants of Ham? Did they know that?
No, probably not.
Why would we pick the black people in Africa to?
Well, you gotta admit, it's pretty darn convenient.
I'm a little confused. How did you know that Ham was like going to be a slave? Or
Well, that's the history of our country. That's what the Christians were saying that in the South.
I see.
Yeah, well, these people are descendants of Ham,
The
so.
Bible doesn't say that.
No, they made the jump.
I see.
Yeah, they made the jump. Yeah, we all know the story. Here they are.
Yeah.
We went and found them in Africa, The tribe of Ham, we got them,
So, sort of,
Yippee.
sort of another conspiracy theory.
Well,
This is why we need to do this to these people.
Well, I mean, think about it, all the justifications that we all make throughout our lives, to gain advantage.
Yeah.
We all do it, and I mean, but some are on a monstrous scale at the cost of others. And, here we go. And thank God for gunpowder, or we never could have pulled it off, right? Thank God for gunpowder. Mhm. If they had it, it would have been a different story.
Mhm.
Yeah, it all comes down
They're
to,
different.
it all comes down to gunpowder, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So next week, I'll try to be, some kind of a responsible whatever I am, and we'll meet on Tuesday. Okay, and I appreciate your willingness to change your schedules for me. Isn't this fun?
They keep moving them.
It's just a moment. Yeah, it's just a moment.
I pulled it right out from under the elbows while I'm waiting for choir. I go to get up. I said, I find myself always having to pull myself up off the pew now. And one day I pulled the pew out from under the elbows.
You did?
It went clunk.
You pull over.